From the most ferocious beast you've ever seen, dragons, to the deadliest wars ever waged, all for the Iron Throne, House of the Dragon has clearly established its place in the industry. And now, Season 2 is coming. HBO's House of the Dragon Season 2 will need to expand on the dramatic conclusion of Season 1. But the question is, after the explosive fire chapter, what can you possibly anticipate for the following plot? And more importantly, when is the whole thing going to air? 3 years after the rather controversial Game of Thrones finale, House of the Dragon appeared as a saving grace for fans of the OG's franchise. Essentially, it showed a comeback for Westeros and its many stories. And boy, were we looking for just that. Unlike the latter seasons of its predecessor.
Oh, it seems my nephews aren't quite as proud of theirs.
Wait!
Go to your quarters. All of you go, now.
The show has generally received positive reviews and praises from critics and viewers alike. That, and it's been quite the hit for HBO. Now, it's no secret that Season 1 may have given way to a few last-minute concerns. The focus now is on what the future holds, because that was just the beginning. But what are you guys even expecting? I'll go first. I'm going to play it safe though and stick to the theme. For starters, it's no secret that civil war is imminent, and things will only get worse as Aegon and Rhaenyra were both crowned. And who can forget about the time when Aemond killed Lucerys just outside of Storm's End? That whole mess truly laid out the narratives for everything we can expect from House of the Dragon Season 2. I have to say, these plot lines should last for a good several years, don't you think? Now, let's talk about the Season 2 announcement. Normally, you need to wait for the green light for another season, but this franchise didn't exactly go that route. Just 5 days after the premiere of the pilot episode,
My lord, I am not free to marry. I'm already betrothed.
So you come with empty hands.
a second season of House of the Dragon was announced. Yep, they hopped on that train pretty fast. Or should I say that, dragon. Whatever floats your boat, folks. From the looks of it though, it seems like HBO Max's streaming service even crashed as a result of the show's premiere's record-breaking viewership. The pilot quite literally broke HBO Max.
Aegon has been crowned king.
What is to be done about it?
Nothing yet.
And where is Damon?
I don't know. Gone to madness.
So, a second season confirmation was stamped from day one, and for good reason too. But is the whole thing truly a complete surprise? I mean, despite the criticism or the full-on backlash of Season 8, Game of Thrones was one of the most popular TV shows of all time. So, why wouldn't House of the Dragon be the same success? It's pretty clear that there's a demand for the stories these characters tell. In all honesty, this was HBO's one sure shot, and they knew it. Now, the streaming service hasn't yet said if or how many episodes will be made for the next chapter of the show, but it seems safe to assume that there'll be another 10 episodes.
It's best, I think, if we go back to Dragonstone.
You've only just arrived.
Let me see the children home.
Plus, it wouldn't be surprising if George R.R. Martin got his desire and House of the Dragon was to be extended for 4 seasons of 10 episodes each.
It was a scene that haunted me. The characters seemed so real. I knew right from the beginning, I mean, that first sentence, they find the direwolf pups in the summer snows. I knew they were the summer snows. So this was a place where it snowed.
How cool would that be? But when will we get to see the stories unfold before us? It may not be the news you're hoping for, but oh well. Season 2 of House of the Dragon is anticipated to start production at the latest in the spring of 2023. That's not nearly as soon as you want it to be, right? That's because George R.R. Martin is up to his usual antics again. As much as I love the man's stories, I wish he'd take the time to wrap them up too. He's notorious for delaying endings and following typical themes. We all remember what went down with Game of Thrones. Perhaps, if he had just been more connected with his fans, it wouldn't exactly pan out like this. But alas, this is our reality. Can someone just let him know that we're okay with less detailed fight sequences and more work on the plot though? Because that would be great. But worry not, folks. Around April or May, King's Landing will once again be hustling and bustling. The release date for House of the Dragon Season 2 will land somewhere in April 2024, effortlessly walking in the Game of Thrones path. Although HBO may decide to push it back too. But whenever the premiere for the new chapter is, the the question remains, who'd be returning to grace our screens? Well, what you guys may not know is production has been a little delayed for this season, and it's for one reason only: the need to find a good Cregan Stark, a Lord of Winterfell. While they work to get that little wrinkle straightened out, let's get back to the rest of the cast. For starters, you can expect all the usual suspects to make a comeback, except for King Viserys, obviously, who tragically passed during the first season. Apart from him, it appears that every member of the House of the Dragon Season 1 cast will be returning in their respective roles. But that's not to say that there are not going to be new faces in the mix too, because as you all know, this season we get to see the return of Starks, or maybe emergence is the correct term. Either way, Cregan Stark, Lord of Winterfell and Warden of the North, who Jace will meet at Winterfell, will be one of the new recruits. Jane Arryn, Lady of the Eyrie and Warden of the East, will also cross Jace's path. That's not all though. The second season of House of the Dragon should feature new dragon riders as a result of Daemon's discussions about dragons. These dragon riders are likely to include Hugh Hammer, a blacksmith's bastard, a young bastard girl who's able to tame the wild dragon sheep stealer, and plenty of others. Apart from that, the second season of the show will have one significant change due to the departure of co-showrunner Miguel Saponik. But Ryan Condal, his co-showrunner, will remain on board. So I don't really think there's any cause for alarm. What about you? What stories will this new cast crew tell though? There's no denying that the Dance of the Dragons is a major plot point that should be continued in the House of the Dragon Season 2 narrative. The race for the Iron Throne has officially begun as Aegon and Rhaenyra proclaim themselves to be king and queen. Oh, the drama that's going to unfold. Similar to all this, Rhaenyra and Daemon will be even more motivated to get their revenge as a result of Aemon's deeds at Storm's End.
Feed my sons to the dragons and have them carry shields and caps. For your drunken usurper cunt of a king.
Aegon Targaryen sits the Iron Throne.
Perhaps that's where the new season will pick up because, in all honesty, that's exactly where it should. With that being said, the Dance of the Dragons may officially begin in Season 2 after much of the last season was spent setting the stage for that narrative. So I guess what I'm saying is, y'all better saddle up for more fights, politics, and the division of Westeros into two halves as the two rivals compete for total control. The battle of the century, if you may. Then there's the other thing. The new season won't necessarily be a mirror of the first one either. The Dance of the Dragons timeline is shorter, though spanning only a few years compared to Season 1, which lasted several decades. So there won't be as many time leaps as before, and honestly, I'm okay with that. But there will still be much to cover, because there'll be betrayals, schemes, and of course, deaths and dragons. With Jacaerys departing for the Vale of Arryn and Winterfell, House of the Dragon Season 2 will be drastically different, because now it's likely to move beyond King's Landing and Dragonstone. That too would allow them to introduce new people and houses while demonstrating the extent to which this divides the Seven Kingdoms of Westeros. That's a wrap from all the latest updates on the House of the Dragon.